Welcome back on this Tuesday evening. As coverage of the situation in Venezuela continues, there is, of course, lots of conversation and speculation over oil production in the resource-rich country. Roger McNight is Chief Petroleum Analyst with NPRO, and he joins us from Burlington, Ontario this evening. It's nice to see you, Mr. McNight.
Good to see you, too.
Let's start off with what the markets had to say about this. We saw Canadian oil stocks slip about 3.5% yesterday. Would that be in direct relation to what happened on the weekend?
Yeah, I think people are getting a little bit overexcited about this. I think the problem is with the Canadian oil producers in Alberta, which is Cenovus, Suncor, and Canadian Natural Resources. They're probably hearing footsteps of a new pipeline is going to be proposed for the West Coast, which is in the works, I guess. That would or President Trump really goes nuts and brings in Venezuelan oil, which is a long way away. That will severely affect the imports of Canadian crude into the U.S. Gulf refining hubs. So that will make producers in Western Canada a little bit nervous, which is why you're probably seeing a little bit of a downward dip in the stock price. But we're a long way. I think we're quite a ways away from the panic button just yet.
Okay, well, let's back up and talk about that a bit. The president has made, in no uncertain terms, he wants oil firms from the U.S. going in there and start production. How likely are the Exxons and Chevrons of the world to start pumping money right away into a country that's so unstable?
I think President Trump is doing some wishful thinking here. If I was Chevron or any of the majors looking at Venezuela yet again, I would say, well, what is going to be the mood next week, next month, or next year? What is going to be the mood of the president if President Trump is not President Trump in 3 years? So could all this change? And we go right back to where we started. If I'm going to put a couple $1 billion into a refining infrastructure, I want to make sure it's going to be there in a couple of years.
What kind of shape is the Venezuelan industry in?
It's pretty sad. It's been completely mismanaged. In the 1974 area, they were producing 3.5 million barrels a day. Today, they're doing about 971,000. So it's complete political disrepair, complete refinery disrepair, complete mismanagement on all sides has made the Venezuelan oil industry an easy target for the Trump regime. However, to get that system up and running again will not take a couple of months or a year or two. It'll take several years and several billions and billions of dollars to get it going. It's something that the major oil companies, U.S. oil companies, may want to start drumming their fingers about.
We hear over and over in this trade dispute with the U.S. that business loves stability, and they're lacking that right now. And it sounds like this is a perfect example of that.
Oh, absolutely. It's a mood swing. I just don't know how to interpret how anybody else can interpret it. If you don't know what's going to happen next week or next year, that's not a very stable environment to start throwing money at. You're throwing money down the drain. So
how should Canada respond to this? In particular, how should the Canadian oil industry respond to this?
Well, I think when you're producing 3.5 million barrels a day of Alberta crude, and 80% of that is going to south of the border, you're pretty well your only customer. And that only customer is saying, well, maybe we can bring in Venezuelan oil, would snap our fingers, and we won't really need Canadian crude. So I would say that the thing to do now is to really kickstart that memorandum of understanding, or turn it into a memorandum of action, because you can't run down the clock on this much longer, because the instability of south of the border is not something I would really want to rely on. And I think the politicians, both federal and provincial, should start sitting down and getting serious about a western pipeline to BC, and even the eastern pipeline. Rethink that one again, and get through Quebec and get it going out of the East Coast.
Yeah. So there was a degree of urgency before, of course, but now you think that's escalated that much more.
Yeah. don't run out the clock here on this one. This is if this isn't a wake up call, I don't think they'll ever wake up.
To your point earlier, though, Canada has competed with Venezuela in the past. I mean, there was a day that lots of oil used to get shipped around, and our producers used to, have to compete with them.
Yeah, well, now it's a bit difficult now. You've got to get it out. You've got to get it out of the country. Don't put everything going south of the border. Go to Asia's where the market is, and let's get going on it, for goodness sake.
Roger McNight, it's a fascinating area of conversation. We appreciate you offering your insight tonight.
Yeah, it's pretty scary too.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Very welcome.
We'll take a break. Much more of your newscasts still to come.